Coach, thanks for the time. We appreciate it. You guys get started Friday night up in Terre Haute. You'll be taking on Terre Haute North as you get ready for to start the 2015 season. And let's start with, because the quarterback position is obviously where all the eyes go to just naturally in the sport of football. And let's talk about Dane Keller, just a junior this year, but has been playing for you guys for a number of years now. Over 1,500 yards passing last year, 20 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. How's Dane grown in this offseason, and what are you expecting out of him this year?
Well, guys, first of all, thanks for having me. I appreciate being on. I think Dane is going to be far improved, or much improved from where he was last year, being kind of a rookie starter for us last year. He made those rookie mistakes, and we had we had a number of games where he had multiple interceptions and made some poor decisions. But by the end of the year, he was playing very well, making more good ones than not. Certainly his size and strength has improved in the offseason. His ability to throw down the field, I think, will be noticed. And then again, the experience that comes with being a second-year starter now rather than being a first-year starter. I think, I've referenced with him several times, Peyton Manning still holds the rookie interception record in the NFL, and he turned out to be halfway decent. So, Dane's got 2 more years with us, and he's going to continue to improve and grow under the tutelage of Coach Jeff Bennett, our offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach. And so I think you'll see him make some big strides forward this season.
Well, Coach, if I remember correctly, he had 13 interceptions on the season, but wasn't it like 7 that came out of the Mater Dei game?
Yes, 7 against Mater Dei, and probably half of those, 3 or 4 weren't his fault. They were receivers that ran the wrong route. They were busting protection where he got hit as he threw. And so he certainly had a rough game, but all of that wasn't pegged on him alone. A lot of it was the surrounding cast and the coaches making sure we were getting guys in the right spot and doing the right thing. So there was enough blame to go around. And, at the quarterback position, as you said, all eyes go there, and he takes a lot of the heat when things go wrong. But there was enough blame to go around in that game. Certainly 7 interceptions, that's got to be a record. But I put my arm around him on the way off the field that night. I said, one day you're going to look back at this and laugh. And it wasn't real funny at the time, but it was a growing and learning experience for sure. We kept slinging it. And he had to hang in there and then overcome a little adversity and toughen up a little bit. And I think those experiences that were learned last year are going to pay dividends in the next 2 seasons for sure.
Well, and then obviously, when you look at the sheet and it shows 13 picks and you think, ooh, but like we were saying, 7 of them in the one game. So he learned and progressed after that. You take that game away and you're looking at 6 interceptions, on the season. Even if you give him 1 or 2, it still looks a little better than 13. So, yeah, he grew just in his sophomore year. Receiving-wise, who's Dane throwing to? I know Will Randall's a name that jumped out at Ryan and I both. He played quarterback actually a couple of years ago, but a big kid, 6'5", 2 1/4. He's coming into his senior year. Is that kind of the go-to guy, or what are some of the names on the receiving corps?
Well, I think certainly we'd start with Noah McClain. He's our left outside receiver, number 87. He led the conference in receiving last year as a sophomore. And, we look forward to having him for 2 more seasons with Dane. Really an explosive kid, knows how to get open, great breaks, runs very good routes. Then I think, you go to our right receiver, Tristan Wilkinson, which is a sophomore this year, and he's cut out of the same mold as Noah, big, tall, athletic, physical kid. Had a great year last year as a freshman and has really stepped on to the varsity field this year. And, hasn't missed a beat. So I think he'll be an outstanding weapon on the outside for us. And then, you have 2 tight ends, Ben Eisen, who has been starting in some capacity for us for now 3 years at tight end, and Will Randall, our other tight end. You've got 2 big tight ends, big athletic targets. Ben 6'4", Will 6'5", both can run. And I think we've got to make sure that we utilize them on a weekly basis. Get the ball to them in space and let them make plays because they're big, fast, athletic targets. And then Jadrian Higginson, a sophomore coming in at the running back position, really showed what he could do last week in the Memorial scrimmage. He's a threat for us receiving out of the backfield as well as running between the tackles. He's a little bit of a dynamic back that we have not had here in quite some time. He brings a different element And so we think we've got some weapons going into the season that if we can, manage to be hitting on all cylinders by Friday night, we've got a chance to be pretty dynamic on offense.
Castle Knights head coach Doug Hurt joining us on the Menard Studio Hotline. It's Ford and O'Brien, ESPN Evansville 105.3 and online, ESPNEvansville.com. And, Coach, you touch on the running back position there, and obviously much like every other team in the city and everywhere, you lose your fair share of guys to graduation each and every year. In that running back position, you lost a very good one to graduation in Christian Peach. You mentioned Higginson. Will he be the lead guy, or are you guys going to maybe approach the running back position more as a committee-type situation?
I think as of right now, Jadrian's our guy, and I think he showed enough in in our blue gold scrimmage, and certainly against Memorial. I think anybody that's seen him run, he's caused quite a stir in Newburgh in terms of people want to talk about 28, and I think he's definitely a difference maker. He's just a sophomore, and so we've got to keep him healthy. I don't think he's a guy that we can run 35 times a game and expect him to last the entire season. We're going to have to mix him up. Both throwing the ball downfield, getting him the ball out of the backfield, and then, keeping some diversity, as far as when we want to run and when we want to throw so that we're not just grinding him in between the tackles all the time. But in terms of explosiveness, like I said, he's a guy that we have not had. So we're really excited about him. We just have to keep him healthy.
Let's jump over to the defensive side for a minute, and then we'll take a look at what you guys need to do to get the season off on the winning foot against Terre Haute North on Friday night. Give us some names on defense, guys, that we might be hearing a lot of as the season moves on.
Well, I think Mitchell Thornberry, first and foremost, is kind of our defensive leader. I think, he's a junior, or he was an junior all-state player last year, preseason all-state player heading into this season. He's, 6'1", 215 pounds, and can run. He's our Mike linebacker, and he really jumps off the film at you if you watch the video, because he can play sideline to sideline. I think Scott Dayton, our strong safety, guy that can play both deep and can roll up in the box and be a run stopper. He's a guy that can be a difference maker. Our front seven in general we've got some guys up front. Cameron Harris is our nose guard. I think he's a different type of player than a lot of people play on the defensive line. He's very athletic. He's only about 5'11", 5'10", but runs a 4.7 40. One of those type guys. If anybody's ever watched John Randall play the position, a Hall of Famer. I'm not going to compare him to John Randall, but he's that motor-driven, fast, athletic, energetic type player inside that can be very disruptive. Get penetration in there in between the tackles and wreak havoc. So I think he's a guy. Nick Forkey, a defensive end. And then I've got another sophomore, got a number of sophomores contributed. Miles Perkins playing the will linebacker position, another one of our fastest players playing on the defensive side of the ball. So we feel like we've got some team speed. We're a little dinged up right now on that side of the ball, so we have to get healthy, just come out of camp, so on and so forth. But we feel like our defense can be pretty stout, and you never know how the team's going to gel and things are going to go on as the season progresses. But it's certainly early indicators have been positive that we can really be, a formidable defense and potentially a championship defense.
We got 8 starters coming back on offense, 7 on defense, Coach. You had a 6-4 season last season. The season before battled a little bit as well. Youth has now become experience, if you will. Are you pretty confident going into the opening week? Are you where you want to be, where you thought you would be at this point with the season opening in a few days?
I think so. I think it's always, Jimmy, it's hard to tell, before you really go out and play for the first time. But certainly, we film our practices and we evaluate the film from practice. And then, we had our scrimmage with Memorial last week where neither team really shows a lot. You just kind of look at fundamentals, how you get around the field, how you line up. I think that was encouraging. We had some good, we had some bad. I think, obviously we'll know a whole lot more after this week. But I think, as you said, the youth has become experienced, and we've gone through those cycles before. Our 2010 season was rough during the regular season. We finished 3-6 before the youth movement kind of caught on and became a little bit more experienced. We were starting 7 or 8 sophomores and eventually won a sectional that year, and that turned into 11 and 12, where we went undefeated in the conference for 2 straight years. I think, looking at this group of seniors right now, they were thrust into the same deal in 13 after the 12 group was gone. Many of the current seniors started as sophomores. They got more experience last year as juniors, and now we're a very senior-dominated team. But that class behind them with the juniors, made up of Keller and Noah McLean and guys like that, I think certainly add to that dimension. And then we've got a talented sophomore class. We're going to have some sophomore contributors as well with Higginson, Miles Burke, and so on and so forth. So I think we've got a good mix right now, but certainly we're senior-laden, senior-dominated, and they're going to provide the leadership, but they're going to be other guys contributing. And so I think going into the season, we're cautiously optimistic. We feel like we're going to be better regardless. The question is how much better is everyone else? Everybody else is stepping forward too, and they'll be making progress. So that is coaching in its essence, is trying to stay a step ahead of the game. But I think other people will progress. It's a question of how much progress we've made.
We look forward to seeing what you guys put on the field this season, Coach. That's Castle Knights coach Doug Hurt joining us on the Menard Studio Hotline. Best of luck in your opener Friday night against Terre Haute North, and good luck throughout the entire season, Coach. Appreciate the time.
Well, thanks so much, gentlemen. Look forward to talking to you guys soon.